Europe is a great place to take a vacation at. This continent features 44 countries and it has so much diversity. Since the continent has so many cool theme parks, we're going to take a look at 10 different nations across the continent and discuss what the best roller coasters are. So we're going to pick the pace back up from the first episode from Denmark and travel south into Germany, which is our first nation. Germany has a lot of parks. There is the incredibly themed Phantasialand, which is home to crazy rides such as Terran. There is the medieval themed Hansa Park, which is home to the messed up Carnen. And then there's Europa Park, which is home to Voltan. There were a lot of options to choose from, but I chose Voltan in the end. This is the first ever roller coaster to feature a beyond vertical launch, and before the launch, spoilers ahead, it has a really well themed dark ride section with a bounce track. It also vibrates during it, and it's a really neat start to a ride. Afterwards is a layout of 7 inversions, a turntable, a spike, and so much more. Europa Park did a great job letting Voltan into the new Croatia section of the park. It also has a banger soundtrack from Mind Score, which you can check out in the card above. It was a bit of a tough call, but Voltan was the best pick. Now let's travel west into the Netherlands. The Netherlands has 3 main parks with Walibi Holland, Efteling, and Toverland, but we're going to Walibi Holland for the RMC Untamed. And shout out to the new for 2025 Jorrit for being a fantastic runner-up. So back to Untamed. This is Walibi Holland's original RMC, and it features the most inversions out of all the coasters that Incredible Company has made with 5. One of them is a 0G roll that stalls out on its side and rolls back the other way. It also features an inline twist, which is very rare on an RMC. Untamed reminds me of Twisted Timbers because of the non-stop bunny hops, and I thought Twisted Timbers was a lot to handle. So what is Untamed like? If you've ridden it before, I would love to hear what you think about it in the comments. So the Netherlands' southern neighbor is up next with Belgium. Same situation as the Netherlands, Belgium also has 3 cool parks with Walibi Belgium, Plopsaland Belgium, formerly Plopsaland Japan, and Bobbejaanland. But let's go to Plopsaland for the messed up Ride to Happiness. Belgium is a very stacked country. You have this, you have Conda, and some other really cool coasters, but Ride to Happiness is on a whole nother level. It has a fantastic layout with 5 inversions, and you're spinning throughout the ride, and that is what makes this place so high in a lot of top 10 lists. It has this flank snake dive-esque element that is so bizarre. It's one of the best inversions in the world. This is very high on my bucket list, and I'm making this park one of my stops if I happen to be in the area. Now let's take a little break and head over to Switzerland. This nation is very high on my bucket list that is not coaster related, but Switzerland doesn't have a whole lot. If I had to pick one, maybe Cobra at Coneyland, and that's because of the uniqueness factor. It is a packed shuttle coaster that features a one-of-a-kind scorpion tail element, which is like an upside-down spike in a way, and before that, it features a circular loop that reminds me of one of the Schwarzkopf loopers, like the defunct Scorpion at Busch Gardens Tampa. It's not the best coaster on this list because the restraints are like raptor restraints, like seatbelts over your shoulders, but it is certainly very unique. So a nation located south of Switzerland will be up next, which is Italy, and this nation deserves so much better. Italy features 2 main parks, and the best coaster in the country goes to Ice Speed. But shout out to Shock at Magicland for being a unique runner-up. Ice Speed is a great standout coaster for Italy. It just has a major glaring critique: the restraints. It is the exact same restraints as Cheetah Hunt, and those restraints aren't good. If they switched the over-the-shoulder restraints to Pantheon lap bars, it would drastically make this coaster even better. Ice Speed is basically a mix of the American Intimates. It has a roll similar to the Mosasaurus roll on Velocicoaster. It has transitions like Maverick. The launch reminds me of the second launch on Maverick. There's a lot of comparisons. Is this a top priority for me when visiting Europe? When I'm not going to Italy? No. But when I'm in the country? Absolutely. Now let's travel north into a hidden gem of a nation, Austria. Austria has been gaining more attention as of recently. They do have a huge park located in the middle of Vienna called Prater, but we're not going there. We're going to a smaller park called Phantasiana for the brand new Helios. This is one of 2 mock Big Dipper coasters that opened in the country and year. The other one was Wiener Looping at Prater. This one is slightly better because of the theming. It also has a station fly-through, which is really cool. As for locations, Wiener Looping is located on top of a literal dark ride, which is bizarre, but I like the placement of Helios better. The layout is pretty cool with its 3 inversions, 75-foot drop, and airtime pops. And here's something funny. Helios is the same freaking height as Snoopy's Soapbox Racers, and that's a family coaster. That just shows how short Helios is, and it was a no-brainer pick. Now let's get a bit obscure for the next nation with Czechia, or the Czech Republic. And this nation doesn't have a lot. It's purely alpine coasters. So for the best non-alpine coaster, there is a small park located next door to a mall called Magellan Prahy, and they have Vic's roller coaster. First of all, I have no idea who Vic is. Maybe it's a European IP, but Vic's coaster is an indoor family coaster, so there are not a lot of stats here. It reminds me of Space Mountain with all the stars. If you've been to Holiday Park, now known as Plopsaland, Germany, they have a clone of this called Tabalugas Achterbahn, and I apologize if I offended any Germans by mispronouncing that. So overall, it's Czechia's equivalent to Space Mountain. Now let's go back to the big rides with Poland. If I made this video 15 years ago, Poland would have been like Czechia, where it's very weak in the coaster lineup, but a huge park in the nation called Energylandia has been growing like crazy, and the big coaster there is Zadra. And shout out to Hyperion and Let Coaster at Legendia for being amazing runner-ups. I could honestly see either of these coasters winning, but I chose Zadra in the end. The main reason? It's an RMC. That fabulous company hasn't made a bad ride, and this is one of their best creations yet. It's one of their hyper hybrids, and the two that I rode are my two absolute favorite roller coasters, and that's why Zadra is very high on my bucket list. I would absolutely make this one of my stops if I ever happen to travel in the area. Zadra has a fantastic layout as well. I'm definitely traveling here one day. Now let's end off this episode with two more obscure nations, starting with Latvia. Latvia is not known for roller coasters, but this is the second time I'm going to be talking about a mountain coaster, and this one is special. It is called Toboggan Run, which I translated, and it is a single rail mountain coaster. These are very rare to come by. I've heard these mountain coasters are insane. There is one in Gatlinburg called Roadrunner at Anarchista, but we were traveling specifically in Pigeon Forge, so I didn't get the chance to ride that. I see why it's unhinged though. The trains have no lateral support, so you're just getting thrashed around with no mercy. I have to ride one someday. Now let's end off this episode with Greece. This nation is a great country to visit, not specifically for roller coasters. It is so historic, but the best coaster in the nation is called Montagna. It is a pinfari cyclone. You can find these roller coasters at small amusement parks or traveling fairs, and it's normally the big attraction there, and that is certainly the case for Magic Park located near Thessaloniki, Greece. The layout isn't anything too special, but the colors are cool. I'm showing the one at Cliffs Amusement Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but the one in Greece is painted like Carolina Cyclone. So overall, it's a small thrill coaster that can be installed pretty much anywhere. So I want to hear from you guys. What's the best roller coaster you've ridden in Europe? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. We are getting really close to our goal of 700 subscribers, and supporting the channel really means a lot. In the next episode, we are going to cover some more obscure nations such as Bulgaria and Croatia. So stay tuned for that, and make sure to keep that adrenaline pumping, and thanks for watching.